Do you feel the pressure to grow your business, but doing so feels a bit like drowning? Welcome to Slow Growth Business, the show for business owners and leaders to quiet the noise and lead your business to success, one day at a time, slow and steady. If you feel your business is running you and you're ready to run it, you've come to the right place. Now, here are your hosts, business coaches Jimmy DeGroot and me, Kyle Bullock.
Hey folks, this is Kyle from the intro. And over there, if you're watching, is Jimmy. And if you're not watching, then you'll hear him muttering.
Hello, this is Jimmy.
And we're the Train Retail guys. Our job here at Train Retail is to help independent jewelers grow your people and your profit for a greater purpose. We love it inside and out every single day. And today on our podcast, I want to talk about a book, Jimmy.
All right.
I'm going to put you on the spot because you have no idea what we're talking about. But I think this is an area that you will uniquely bring input into, and I want our listeners to be thinking about today.
All right.
So we got recommended a book. You got recommended a book through me, through someone else.
Right.
And I didn't read it. You read it. So we're going to this is not a book review, but the concept of the book is what I want to hang out on. The book is called The Dream Manager by Matthew Kelly. Have you finished this one, by the way? Have you gotten through this one?
I have not finished it, but it's one of those books where you get it kind of halfway through, or even before then. Okay. And it's a narrative, meaning it's a complete storyline with characters. So, I still have to finish it.
If you like listening to books, you can pick it up on Audible it's like less than 4 hours to listen to. So it's a quick one. Again, this is The Dream Manager by Matthew Kelly. I want to set this up a little bit because I'm going to ask you questions about this today in regards to jewelry, but so that everyone knows what we're talking about. This is a narrative book. It's got a story to it, but it has a leadership lesson at its core. It says that managing people is difficult. It's a story about a janitorial company, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where they had major disengagement, huge turnover. People didn't want to be in that job and clean toilets and things of that nature. So they had a huge employee turnover, and the managers were scratching their heads. How do we fix this? And so this is the story of this company creating an entirely different culture through a dream manager. Creating a situation where people are feeling empowered, feeling loved, feeling appreciated, and this is a company that's mopping floors. And I want to hang out on this idea, Jimmy, because you're so adept.
Before you do, I just want to preface it with this: the book is about the manager of dreams. Okay, not like my dream manager would be this person. Okay, it's a manager that manages the dreams of the team. So it's just you understand that, right?
But before we get into it a little bit, can you give us in like a minute or 2 minutes the heart and soul synopsis of what it's trying to teach us, especially in jewelry? What is it trying to teach us in terms of management and leadership?
Well, we often think in the jewelry business that retail is really hard. And just because when it comes to finding good people, can you imagine, like you said, the janitorial business where we're talking about people cleaning toilets and things like that? And one of the big breakdowns in the company was the fact that there were people of other than, North American descent working for them. So they had language barriers. They had all kinds of things, the driver's license, people couldn't drive, that type of thing. So there was all those barriers added on top of it. Well, in a nutshell, like you asked, 1 minute or less, it was, what if we decide to invest in our people? What if we decide to hire somebody that can help people fulfill their dreams? In some cases, it was own a vehicle. Some cases, it was own a home. Some cases, it was higher education. And so it's just a beautiful story about what can happen when you truly invest in your people.
Okay, so going to the jewelry industry, I want to start here with your experience, you were reading, and this is a narrative about a janitorial company, how they turned it around. But if you had to give a grade to the jewelry industry or get a pulse on how we're doing in actually leading people, managing people like this janitorial company did, how do we do? Good, bad, ugly? Are we far off the mark in general?
I'm going to say C- to D. Okay.
And why is that?
Well, because there's a prestige to the retail jewelry business that we dress up, we look good, we come in. It's a professional type position where we have to know a little bit more than the person working at Target. Okay, there's a level of information that we need to have, and a professionalism that we need to have. And so because of that, and because it's warm or cool in our stores and it's not outside, we tend to feel like, that our people, they're lucky to work here kind of thing. And I know that's probably not the mentality is in the last 10 years. It's more of really glad you're working here. But the thing is, there is not a there is not a thinking, a mindset that it's going to help them with their dreams. Okay, is this a 5-year position for you here at the jewelry store? And if it's not, what's your dream? Where do you want to be? And investing and helping people with that. And so the beauty of this book is just by asking that question alone, people they want to come and work there. They want to come and work there. And you're going to, especially in the jewelry business, you're going to get your people that love it and want to stay forever. And that's great. And you're working with them, you're feeding them, you're giving them tools. And then you're going to have people that are going to move on. And that's okay too. But you know what? They're going to move on and they're going to tell great stories about you. They're going to probably help in the long run, bring other people, come and work for you. So, I mean, the overall is good when you invest in your people.
Okay, so what you described, though, it sounds great. It sounds nice, but is there a system? How can I systematize this? Is there a handbook? Or are you telling me I got to do all this kind of touchy-feely stuff and just sort of wing it?
No, you don't wing it. You do a little research. You find out about your store, your people, your region. Okay, what's going on in your region? Do you have a culture or people that maybe aren't as good with the English language? Maybe we can give them some lessons. Maybe we can buy a course for them or something, help them along that way. In the course of in this book, they were talking about a lot of people didn't have driver's license. So getting to and from work was really impossible. This company bought a bus and they started busing people. It's finding out the individual dreams and desires and needs and downfalls or shortfalls that people could use help within your organization.
Are there major issues that you see with the sales teams, with our employees, that maybe owners and managers of jewelry stores are not seeing?
Well, absolutely.
What would be the big ones?
Well, go to college and look for a course in selling. Okay. Go to college and look for a course in managing a retail team. You're not going to find it out there. Is there one? I don't know of any, but we are woefully unequipped to add, how should I say, professionalism to the careers in the jewelry business. We're woefully unequipped because we're still in the retail mindset. Now, I know we have GIA and we have a lot of fantastic teaching about product and diamonds and things like that. But what you and I discover is that we don't have a roadmap. Well, we do with Chain Retail. Okay. Shameless plug there. But we don't, as an industry, have a roadmap for this is how to manage a store. Now, Harry Friedman did that a few years ago, and I benefited greatly from the Harry Friedman program. That particular program was designed more for like mall shoe store managers, that type of thing. So there wasn't anything that added that met the professionalism needs that we as jewelers and jewelry store sales professionals need. You asked me a question, Kyle. I'm going to ramble. Sorry.
No, I love it. That's what I wanted. You going even further to the employees. Okay, besides the professionalism that you talked about and the training that they need as salespeople, what do they personally want? What do you see as maybe some common dreams among our sales teams and jewelers, bench jewelers? What do they want out of life?
I can't answer that in general, but I can answer it specifically, and that is you have some wonderful people that work for you, and they have different wants and desires and needs out of life. Any given person might want room to grow, eventually become manager, maybe eventually become owner of the store. Wouldn't that be awesome if we could foster that and grow that? Build your own owner, future buyer. That's a beautiful thing. But and then there's other people that, you know what, they want to sell, they want to come to work, they want to get away from home. Maybe they want to get away from whatever's going on back there, and they want just a few hours. Maybe it's a part-time person. Their dreams and desires are different. I just want to come here and have a good time and sell, and it's cool, it's chill. And I love it. Thank you for being here. Or I'm a goldsmith. Hey, I want to work at this bench for a while, but eventually I want to manage the store. So it's individualistic for each person. So you can't put a blanket on everything. You got to sit down with people and say, how's it going? What do you want to do? Where do you see yourself? Seriously. And not the interview question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? So that you're looking for the pat answer. Where do you see yourself? You've got 4 kids now. Okay, what's going to be happening when they start going to school, and how can we meet those needs and those scheduling needs and things like that? So it's so individualistic, but the key is, and the system is, figure out a system based upon sitting down and figuring out what people want and need in your store.
So I have this issue. If I'm an owner and you're telling me I got to go find what my team wants specifically and individually, what do I just go out and ask them, what do you want? You know what I mean? Yes. I've seen this firsthand. When you ask people, what do you want, or where do you want to be in 5 years from now, or whatever, they don't know. It's a really hard question. Right. We've got bucket lists, and sometimes we make bucket lists going, you never do that, right? Like that's not going to actually happen. Be cool if I could go to Italy type feeling,
Yeah.
But you're talking about real, tangible, what do you want out of life? And that's sometimes is hard for people to articulate because they don't know how to say that. So how do you find out what people want and ask that question in a way that's not going to get you these blank stares going, I don't know what I want.
Well, it's got to be coffee. It's got to be a conversation that's in a relaxed environment, not sitting behind your desk. By the way, whenever I had a desk, I hated desks. I would push them against the wall so that when someone come into my office, I would spin around and I'm right there with them. Okay. And they'd sit down with me. But the thing is, asking the question, getting to know them, allow their guard to come down, but you're showing this in practice. You're showing this because Tanya used to work for you, and now she is a pilot, for crying out loud. You helped her get her pilot's license. And so it's sitting down and talking and just, hey, or here's a great question. What don't you like about our store? What don't you like about retail? What could we do that could help that?
But what if they say, I don't want to work on Friday and Saturday? That's my busy days. What do you mean you don't want to work on Friday and Saturday, you lazy bum? What do we do then?
All right, Kyle, you're setting me up. You're setting me up. What I would say, yes, but this is a retail store. Okay. And our busiest days happen to be, okay. So, that's the come to Jesus talk all the time, but that's the realism talk. I mean, come on. I mean, you seriously expect to work at a retail store and not work on our busiest days, and you're in sales. So, I mean, I would say it a little softer than that. But then the question, okay, what could we do? Is there another day where we could do a shift? Okay, what could we do on Tuesdays and Wednesdays? That type of thing. Give and take.
I like that because does it really matter? It's a busy day.
Yeah.
But if it's a great person, and you go, well,
Right.
Why do you want the weekends?
Mm-hmm.
And they go, because I don't want to miss another game for my kid. And I've missed every soccer game my kid's ever played in.
Right.
And I don't want to miss another moment. All right. I will work for you like fierce Monday through Friday.
Right.
I'll work to the end of the day on Friday. I just want to go see my kid's soccer game. Okay.
Yeah.
Would you take away someone's ability to do that? If they're working for you fierce Monday through Friday, would you take someone's ability away to make memories with their family and they're a great employee those 5 days a week just because it inconvenienced you on a weekend?
Listen, you and I talked about this about a year ago with people coming in late. And you asked an amazing question. You said, does it really matter? Okay, if we're accomplishing our objectives, if we open on time, if we're meeting all of our sales goals, if you're prepared and ready to go when the dinger dings and the door opens, does it really matter? Or is this a hill I'm going to fight and die on? Okay, maybe you're that way, and so that's a beautiful question to ask for somebody that doesn't want to work on Fridays or doesn't want to work on Saturdays, for example.
You've given us
Does it really matter?
A nice picture to come out of that C- D that you gave us in the industry where we're kind of just doing the motions. We need to equip people, spend time hearing what they want, maybe even asking them what they don't want out of life. That tells you maybe more about what a person really wants,
Right.
than asking what do you want is what do you not want, right? And then filtering that through that lens of reality and asking ourselves and them, does this really matter? If it really matters to them to have something, don't we want to give that to them?
Yeah.
And maybe that's where that compromise and conversation happens instead of just throwing the gauntlet down. I want to ask one more question before we wrap up because we're hitting our time here.
Oh,
And I want to ask you a question
Seriously, I felt like we're just getting into it.
I know, yeah. No, we're hitting our mark here.
All right.
I want to ask you one last question. You got to answer it short. But we started this conversation off camera about something that you said that surprised me. I loved your answer, especially now in light of this conversation. Where I said if you went back and you could own a jewelry store, there's many kinds you could own. You could own the big one, $10 million store, big staff. You could own the $1 to $2 million mom and pop independent brick and mortar. But if you could go back and you could own a kind of a jewelry store, what would you choose and why?
Well, just for everybody listening, Kyle does own a store. He's in it right now. I used to be a partner in a store. Okay. And so I am not in it every single day. However, I am in it every single week. I do some retail work. So to answer your question, I love the idea of the small mom and pop store with a bench in the back and just a small handful of employees. One of the things is, I mean, what you and I see with the clients that we work with is those people that have their, how should I say, that have all their priorities in order, but their time, their efficiency, the time they spend at work, they have that all in order so that the business doesn't rule them, but they come home with $300,000 to $500,000 a year. I mean, that's pretty cool. And so they got a pretty cool little business going there. And when I've seen a lot of more money, more problems kind of thing when it comes to bigger stores. However, the opportunity that owners and managers of bigger stores have is the training of new people, the bringing on of new leadership. And we know that that's a problem. I've built this thing to $4 or $5 million, and I can't start handing this leadership role off to Mike. I don't even know him. He's not in my family, that type of thing. So the ability to be able to have your priorities, do what you do well in the business, and have every other person fill in the gaps and do what needs to be done for the business. Gosh, I'm rambling, but you get what I'm saying, right? Quality of life is what I'm talking about here. And that's, I guess, why I'd like a little bitty mom and pop store that does $1 to $2 million in volume.
And if you want that quality of life, you, the listener, want that quality of life. I think that's valuable, I hope, to a lot of people listening. Don't you think your staff wants the quality of life?
Yeah.
And I hope what you leave with is a reflection on this. If you're not thinking about their quality of life, you might be using them to get your quality of life.
Yeah.
And they'll feel used.
Yeah.
Shifting to that dream manager. Again, the book that inspired this conversation is The Dream Manager by Matthew Kelly. If you want to listen to it or you pick it up, you certainly can. But it's shifting us to think about how we approach our teams and asking them, how can I make your life better? And if we do this, perhaps they'll reciprocate and they'll want to do it for you and hopefully for each other.
Yeah. Can I finish with a quick story?
Sure.
All right. And I'll promise I'll make it quick. So Brian Rouse over at Bay Area Diamond Company called me over 10 years ago, and he asked if I'd come in and do some training for his team. And, the moral of the story was, I said, the moral of the story, I'm not at the moral yet. I said, why? Why do you want me to do this? And he said, well, I'm doing pretty good and I'm not even trying. What would happen if we actually taught him something? And that's when the light bulb went on with me. And I said, all right, but I want to create content for everybody. So that's why it's a video platform. And the thing that I've, experienced up until then was only the most successful stores or the most high volume stores could afford to have a sales trainer come in once a year. And even then, it wasn't very effective because you had a boost in sales for a couple months, maybe, and then everything went back to usual because there wasn't a consistent discussion going on in your store. So that's why we created the Train Retail video platform, where there's something every week to be discussing, looking at, oh, that's interesting, or at least a new view. And so, I mean, that's what's in our hearts. And I know it's in Kyle's heart. We are like-hearted people. That first day we talked on the phone, we were like, did we just become best friends? Yes, we did. And so that's what our heart is, folks. We really, truly want to help everybody. I don't care if you're doing $500,000 in volume. I mean, there's a ray of sunshine for you and for your team. And anyway. So long story short, the moral of the story, let's wrap it up, Jimmy, is we want to be able to feed your teams. We want to be able to feed your teams with knowledge and power and confidence and the ability to get along with each other and the ability, all kinds of things. I could go all day. I could not stop talking. I could just go. And so I'm at that point in the road where it's like, all right, I got to stop.
Well, with that being said, scooch on over trainretail.com. You can sign up for that video platform we talked about. It's $150 a month. You get management, sales training, product knowledge training, repair training, so much more. Just use the code FREEMONTH, all one word, FREEMONTH, and you get the first month free. You can cancel anytime. So if you jump on there for the first month, you go, this is not for me, for my team, that's fine. You didn't spend anything but a little bit of opportunity to just check out what we have and better your team. And with all that being said, Jimmy, this was a good podcast. Thanks for sharing. I'm Kyle. That's Jimmy. Goodbye, everybody.
The Rambler. Jimmy the Rambler. See you guys.
We hope you leave this episode a little better than when you first began. If you'd like more resources to grow your business slow, steady, and consistently, check out our on-demand video catalog at trainretail.com. Or if you have a question or frustration we can help address in your business, write to us about it. We love to help solve big, ugly problems. So hit us up at kyle@trainretail.com or jimmy@trainretail.com. Good luck out there, and we will see you next time.